each other, killing each other, hating everyone, blaming everybody else and you. Castigating, pointing fingers, who are you?
Hi, welcome to Afro-Centric series. Afro-Centric series brings you nothing but culture, tradition, religion, festivity, you name it all. Nothing takes you closer to Africa than its own tradition. I am Deka, your host, and today I have here with me my co-host, Ukeli. She's going to take it up from here and introduce our topic for today.
Yes, so I'm going to introduce our topic, which is going to be about relationships, but one of the main questions we want to answer is what do we owe our partner? Do we owe them the relationship? What do we owe them whenever it ends? And specifically, we were asked by somebody, when you get engaged, if a man asks you to marry him, then you said no, are you still in a relationship after that? So that was a question that we were asked specifically. So since we're going to be talking about relationships, I want us all to answer with one word, yes or no, are you still in a relationship after? And then we'll go and we'll talk about relationships from there.
Yes.
You are still in a relationship?
Yeah.
No.
No,
No. I say no. I say no.
Would you?
Yeah, I say no.
I'll say yes.
Yes, for me.
It depends.
I know.
That's true.
It really does.
Maybe you just have to go and do it.
Yeah, if it's not good enough.
Okay, so from there we just want to discuss?
Correct. Because I think she said no, right? Why no?
Because I feel like when you get to the point of proposing, you should have all your facts checked and you're sure she's going to say he or she's going to say yes. So if they say no, then whatever the conversation is afterwards, you clearly weren't on the same page. So if you had gotten to that point, and it could be that they're not ready, but it's still, you were ready and they're not ready, still a no. Just part ways. Let's save the headache, the heartache, just go on your separate ways.
I want to go into that because you said if she says no. Would you ever propose to somebody?
No.
Would anyone ever have to be the girl that proposes?
Hell no.
As an African, this is difficult to say yes, but
I think when we all coming from the African perspective, they are all going to say
Yes.
no.
right. But
However,
why do you
yes.
feel? It
I
looks
would
like you feel
say
differently.
that maybe I would say no just because I'm African and people won't understand that, but I don't see anything bad about doing it. You know what I mean? If somebody else does it and think that's what they want to do, I'm like, that's fine. Do you? And then, I will applaud it. It's fine.
and you
So it's
said
just because if I propose, it would just be so many questions. People like, what if this happened? I'll be able to put up with, be able to answer all those questions because I just love the person and I propose. But I feel like because the society is already set up a certain way, it's really hard to just break the rule and then be like, I'm just gonna do it regardless. So.
Yeah.
And you did say it depends. What makes it relative?
Because I feel like it depends on the relationship. Sometimes you're not ready, but you can be ready. You can say no now, but just give me some time. I want to be ready. I want this and that and that. And like she said, sometimes you have to have your fact check. But sometimes they're all like, sometimes the people's behavior can be misleading. You don't really know if they want it. They don't really want it. Is she ready? Sometimes people don't have the talk. Like, when do you think you want to get married and stuff like that? So I feel like it can be a no, let's wait. It can be a no, I just don't want you like that. So I feel it depends on why are you saying no.
Correct. And personally, I feel relationship is a gamble. And in terms of proposing to people do it out of the blue to surprise people. Just because you're ready or you did it out of the blue or you want me to commit to you doesn't mean that I'm ready to go to the extra mile. And I think a proposal it has a misleading factor to it. To most people, once you're being proposed to, you're getting married. But there is a proposal that says, okay, I am promising you that I'm going to be with you through thick and thin. So it depends on the mindset behind it.
Proposal is like, would you marry me? Like, that's the marriage. We're not going anywhere. And then I was also say you said something about, I don't remember. Maybe.
She just like to say.
But the thing is, sometimes, we're living, we're living together and everything, and I get to know you. Okay, maybe it's the time to make the move. Sometimes I haven't talked to you yet. Maybe mentally you're not ready. But to me, I'm like, okay, I've known you for like 2 years now, so I think it's the right time. Maybe your mind is somewhere else. You focus on your career, all those different things. So when they say, okay, no, I'm not ready, no, I'm not going to marry you. When you propose, you say, no, that's not the end of it, because there's always stories too. There's always background stories. So
that's what I was about to say, came back. So proposing can be a surprise, but the conversation shouldn't be. Like, do you actually want to get married?
Yes.
Would you, when do you think you will be ready to get married? What would you like to accomplish before you get married? I feel like that conversation needs to be had before you actually go get a ring and all that.
And that's my very reason for saying no, it shouldn't be a relationship. It shouldn't continue, just because the basis of any healthy relationship should be communication.
Exactly.
So whether you are 2 years in, 2 months in, I've known people who have proposed 6 months in, 3 months in, versus 3 years, 7 years and still haven't proposed. You've had that conversation. You should have, at least. So by the time you get to the point of proposal, you should know what the response is going to be. Friends know. That's why you mentioned that it's spontaneous. I like to think of the idea that it is, but nowadays it's not. It's something that's been planned, that you're planning, because you have to plan the photographer and the videographer and people to capture the moment. It's not as spontaneous as we would like for it to be, but it's something that that is planned in conversation with family, with other people, whatever it is. So I don't think if I say no by that point, whatever my reason is, we clearly weren't on the same page. We can discuss it afterwards, but it's going to make for an awkward continuation in the relationship.
So are we attacking this question coming from the African perspective, or we're attacking it coming from the American perspective?
General.
Who is it?
I know, somebody
go look.
Let's go look. Well, she's gonna check.
When we're answering this question, we want to answer it. Are we answering this from an African perspective, or is this our Americanized version of what a proposal
It
is?
has to be general.
It's just
No,
general.
it can be general, but then
But how
look
are
at it
you
from this
answering it? Right?
angle. We are Africans, and our values always cloud our judgment, regardless to you saying something. So you have to think of it that way. Okay, me being an African, has it got an influence on my response, or is my environment altering it? Because I can say for a fact that from an African perspective, if you say no, it's the end of the relationship. From an American perspective, or from the liberation and the civilization, and considering the time factor, when I say no, it doesn't mean that's the end of the relationship. Maybe I'm the kind of person who don't want labels or titles on a relationship. And Africans don't have certain conversations. When they see you and they like you and they tell you they like you, it means that is the commitment. So I'm not going to, I'm not going to ask you, would you marry me 100 times?
But the thing is, even back in the days, what happened was, if you see a girl that you like, you tell your parent, hey, I think there's this girl, red skin or light skin girl, I like her. Then your parent has to do all the job, right? They have to do all the background check and all the stuff. Then they'll tell, okay, yeah, it's good, you're good to go. So I'm gonna go talk to her parents too and see what they think. Then so you didn't have to do that much work, right?
Correct.
So right now is different, it's like a different level that you have to go and but I don't mean, for me, like proposing in front of people and just saying, oh, I want to marry you, and that should be between you, between you and the girl. People don't have to know about it, that, oh, I'm engaged and all those kind of stuff. If you feel like you want to let people know, that's fine. But
that's actually a good question, because I didn't think of it from any perspective. I thought of it from my perspective. But now when you mention it from an African or an American perspective, I thought about it. With African proposals, in my opinion, it's different.
It's different,
So if that was the case, a no would mean no continuation of relationship, just because of the questions that might come. You guys are still continuing, but I thought you said no, and But if it was more of a private thing, and I might consider continuing the relationship just because we can talk about it. I'm like, what are you doing? No, we talked about it. We want to save up. You can versus it being public. It's already embarrassing.
Correct. And even And even with the proposal, like he's saying, the setting is totally different.
Completely
We
different.
do not do the proposal. We do like engagement,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
two families
So,
come
It's already
together.
the party. It's
Yes.
the party.
Yes,
It's the
correct.
engagement party. That's what it
And
is.
to
You
Africans,
already know
that
what's
is
happening.
marriage.
Yes.
And then we do the white wedding.
Yes.
So it's two different things when it comes to those. But I think the question was from an American perspective. So there was an
Yes.
American who threw that question. So we have to answer on African side and then give them the American version of it. Anela, you wanted to say something, so.
Also, want to say I want a public proposal. So if somebody's gonna propose
Really?
to me, no, we're not gonna
Really?
be just me and you. I want the pictures. I want my friend to be there. Like I want it to be perfect. But still, I think the conversation needs to be had. Like we have to have a conversation before you actually propose.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you actually want to get married and all that. And the other thing I was about to say, you said something about you go talk to the parents of the girl and all that. But the girl still has to say yes, I kind of like the guy or no. The
But it was
parents can
different.
need
I'm-
to say
I'm
well,
saying
he's
that
not- he's
back-
wrong.
back in the days.
Not in
you
African
didn't
culture,
have, you didn't have a choice that time.
If your
that
parents
time.
like that for
It was
you,
different.
50 years ago, even my mom had a
It's not
choice.
50 like
They
100
had a
years
choice
ago.
sometimes if
To
they were,
an
but
extent.
even in our parents' age, they still were doing that.
Yeah.
They even still do
And
it now.
And
They
they
still do it
dated
now.
before actually to kind of get engaged or married. And then you
Sometimes.
said something that if it was private, you would salvage the relationship and try to make
if it
work.
was private, I'm more likely
Likely
to
to do
continue.
it.
Yeah.
in the
But for me,
relationship.
I would never say no like in front of everybody.
I don't think I would. If it was in front of
Never.
everybody, I
Like
would.
somebody
I would say
what
yes,
it
and then
takes
privately I'd be
to
like,
get
no.
stuff together, propose to me. I would say yes, then we'll get home. I was like,
I may
oh, well,
not
you
say
did.
no. I may not say no, but my
Yeah.
face will show up like, oh
But,
yeah.
but the thing
Yeah,
is,
and I was like, Yeah.
there's a lot
Oh,
going
right.
on. Maybe there's something
Yeah.
going on in the background
Yeah.
that the rest of the people don't know. So if you come, I come propose to you, hey, you want to marry me, and all those things. But you know what you're going through with that
The
guy.
guy.
Yeah.
Now for him to just come out of nowhere and just go to a pawn shop and get a ring, you know, can you make? Just say,
even
I
when
want to marry
people
you.
talk,
But you
Uh-huh.
you are going to say sometimes no, our emotions sometimes is just some stuff that you can't just hide it. You're just going to say what you want to say, how you feel. Sometimes you can hide it and say, okay, hey, I'll marry you. Then you go home and talk to that guy.
then that means you guys
But
have issues in the
sometimes-
relationship because
Mhm.
when you guys
Sometimes-
can talk and you know that maybe you need to work on something, it's something you should know that I
No,
don't see us going anywhere if you keep
sometimes,
acting
but-
like this.
Because I've seen.
Why
I've
do
seen-
you, what are you
I've-
gonna, why are you
But
gonna propose to me if you already
I've
know
seen-
what I
I've
think?
seen
some
situations,
people-
right? I've seen situations where the lady knows that the guy was doing something behind her back, and
Hey.
she found out. And hey, you want married? Then she slapped the guy.
I can
Some
imagine.
people
Yeah.
are
So you don't think I know everything that you're doing in the
But I think-
background?
I think
But
Ornella's
how would you
question-
stay
exactly.
to the
I
point
think
where it's not
Ornella's-
proposing to you?
Right.
That's the thing.
That's
That
what
means
Ornella's
Well, she
saying.
wasn't
too.
expecting it, so the communication.
Even if
part-
expecting or
Everybody's
not, when you
expecting
find
it.
out, when you can, why you can't talk to the person and ask them, listen, I heard this and this and this and this. And if you still have to figure it out, investigate and do
But-
that, maybe there is something already not working in the relationship.
woman
though.
can have
But
stuff for a
some
long
people
time.
are professional liars. I have seen, this is real life, a scenario where the person proposed and the person they proposed to had to tell them that they are married. So that person was the other
But I
person.
think
they didn't know
Ornella's
that
saying,
entire
Ornella's
time.
just saying, as soon as you
Why?
find out it's not who you're
Yeah.
gonna be with, why don't you just end it at that point?
Yes.
Like,
Because
why
if
wait
you
till
already
you-
know that's
Sometimes-
not the one for me.
Sometimes
What are we
you don't know.
Some
doing?
people, they
This
like
is
the
the-
sometimes
benefits
people
and
can
then
hide
they're
stuff.
like, wait,
And
this
sometimes-
one-
I mean,
Then
that's
say
their
yes,
problem.
continue to wait. Don't
You
say
get
no.
your benefits. You get your benefits. You get
Yeah.
But
all
I think
your
that
people
benefits.
can hide.
some people know they're in a toxic relationship, yet they choose to stay for different reasons.
Then
Yeah.
say yes to
But-
the engagement
but-
still until you figure it out and then you
But
can
the
say,
thing,
I don't
but
think
the thing
this
is,
is gonna work.
right? Guys don't like to hide stuff. So if
Guys don't like to what?
no,
I'm sorry.
Hide stuff?
I'm gonna let you know, right? But women can hide
Guys
stuff.
don't like to hide
But
stuff.
women can hide stuff. Guys
No, no,
don't
no.
like to hide
From
stuff.
experience.
but
Guys
women
are
can
stupid.
hide
Guys
stuff.
can't hide
That's
stuff.
what it is. Y'all are
That-
stupid.
Yes, they can't hide stuff. We're just
Yeah,
better.
No, we had.
That's-
We,
but
no,
you like to
we
hide
try,
stuff.
No, we try to hide it, but you're gonna catch us anyway.
Because
but women
that's
can
who we
hide
are.
it.
So
Women
basically
are
what he's
more
saying
professional,
is-
Yeah,
right?
please translate. Please translate.
Basically what he's saying is guys are not professionals.
we
in
are
lying.
terrible
Smart enough.
liars.
Yes,
That's the thing.
but
You're gonna
women
catch us
can
at some
lie
point.
about something and be very calculating and very malicious
To be
about it.
fair,
And,
It is.
anyone can lie. It's a matter of how well you know that person.
Correct.
So men just don't care to know women that well. So women are easier. We're better. We can lie to them. women care to know the men, so we know when they're lying better.
Yes.
But that's nothing to do with who's better lying. Women aren't better liars.
There are some professional men like
So-
Professional.
I agree with both. Okay, because when it's a genuine relationship, you can actually know the person. You can find out when they're lying or not.
That's
But
what-
I feel
yeah.
like because of the society, like let's say if I was cheating on my man or something, I'm sure you would never find out. Like never. Not because I'm like a perfect liar, but I feel like the society is just not ready. You know what I mean? Like the pressure and people are gonna think about this about me. When it's a guy, you get a pass. You like forgive him. It's okay. So I feel like that's why we tend to be more like trying to hide stuff better than men because we are aware of the consequences.
The reason why I'm
When
saying
the situation,
Yeah.
the reason why I'm
and the
saying that,
judgment
the
and
reason
all
why I'm
that.
saying that is because a woman can just walk in this setting and just have 3 guys that she's done something with. Say, hey, how you doing? How you doing? And just go. But guys, when we get in a room where we have like 3 girls, we done something with, like, you just become nervous because you don't know what they're gonna say. You know.
It's most likely if I'm a guy,
seen
I'm a
that
girl,
too,
and
it's
I've been with 3 guys, probably they don't know. But if you are a guy, I'm sure the girls know. Like maybe they talk to
Because
each
they're
other.
scared to talk
People have
about
said
it.
something to each other. But if I am a girl and I'm sleeping with 3 persons, I'm not even gonna talk about it. That's between me and Jesus. No, that's me.
I want to ask about how it's seen from an African perspective, how cheating is seen. Because I know that it's just, in certain places, it's just accepted. That's what it is. Accepted
well,
with the culture. That's
I
how
think
it's
it's
going.
accepted.
I wonder how we all feel.
I want to
know how we
answer
feel.
that. This was an African man. He told me that African men cheating is absolutely normal and it shouldn't be a reason
told
to
that.
stop a
told
relationship.
that.
Men are meant to have multiple women. I was like, wait, what if a woman wants with oh, not the women?
No.
And I was just
No,
like,
no.
oh no,
Not the woman.
oh no. That's when I
Not the
have a
woman.
problem with it. But it's the guys get away with it. It's fine. They're just
It's
men.
fine. They're
and
just men.
But it's
Because
society,
it's-
it's societal stuff that the double standard thing, right? So, let's say a guy, myself, I have like 3 or 4 girlfriends, 3 girls that I'm doing stuff with. But if you do the same thing, so yeah, she's a terrible person. Why?
But this is the
But-
the
It doesn't
backstory
make sense,
of
you
it.
know what I'm saying? But
When it comes to Africa, and we're answering it
Yes.
from an African perspective, polygamy and how polygamy started. It started from the northern part of Africa, like Ghana, where I'm
Yeah.
from. And with polygamy, it was linked to female genital mutilation. When the female genital mutilation is being circumcised, it numbs the woman's
Yeah.
feelings. So sex to them hurts. So men are allowed to marry more than one wife during that time, because once I have the man have sex with you today, it takes you time to heal. Then he can find comfort with the other wife and the other wife and the other wife. By the time it gets to you, you're healed for another round. Therefore, if a woman can have sex more than one time and still find it pleasurable, then there's something wrong with it, or the society has done something wrong, or the woman is classified or put into a different category. Moving forward, men cheating, when polygamy stopped, it was still a norm. It's a normal thing for men to have more than one wife or to seek comfort from one woman. You get it? Because it comes also, when you look into psychology, it goes into attachment. When a child is born, the first attachment they do have is to the mother.
Yeah.
They find pleasure where they find pleasure is, and men are more likely to get latched onto their mom. The first pleasure they find is oral. So through the mom sucking the boobs and whatsoever. So when you look at it, a guy is more attached to the mom, and women give men the pass. In raising a child, it's embedded into their DNA. It's okay to love your mom and love other women. That message is you can love more than one woman. You get?
Okay, maybe the story is
haven't thought
different
about it that
depending on
Yes.
where you
It
are
makes a lot
from.
of sense, yeah.
Because in Central Africa, we don't have mutilation and all those things. Like nobody gets in.
But cheating is still happening.
But before, has it never been done?
Polygamy still
Polygamy,
existed for
yeah.
years ago, and I think it has a lot to do with power and in money. Because
Correct.
I think from the beginning, women were staying home and having kids, and the
Yeah.
man was going,
Yeah.
getting like food. And it's normal for him to cheat because you're not going anywhere with no education,
You have
no
no
money,
car,
no
yeah.
jobs, no anything. Like where are you gonna go with 5 kids? You go back to your house with your parents. So I feel like he gave the men the power to marry as much as he wanted because There was
could
really,
afford it.
you could afford it. There was really nobody to say you couldn't do it.
They
You
were
know
in
what I
charge.
mean?
You know, they were in charge of everything.
But we also have to
So-
throw out there that it's not always been a negative thing. That from an African perspective, in different cultures, polygamy is not negative.
That's what I'm saying.
If a
It's not-
man is giving respect to each woman, if he's taking
I'm-
care of all of them, it's not
for-
necessarily.
That's what I'm saying. It's
But
not
the thing
polygamy
is-
and
the
cheating
thing
are
is-
not.
They're
Polygamy
not
and
the same
cheating
thing.
are not the same
They're not,
thing
yeah.
because
But-
you are honest with all of them. They know this exists. You are the second wife and I'm the first.
There's
So
a-
cheating is like another.
But-
It's
but
another
the
thing.
thing is,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
But I
polygamy,
think-
I support polygamy, right?
Of course you do.
But the only thing is, can you love two people the same with the same amount of
You
energy?
What do you think?
polygamy, so tell
What
us.
do you think? Yeah, you tell us.
So if you can do that, that's the reason. No,
But I don't-
my answer was like a sarcastic kind of answer because there's no way you can love two people the
But I
same
don't think
way.
it's about
It's
love.
not about
I
love.
don't even think
No,
that point
but
is
it was
about
about-
love
During
anymore.
that time, it wasn't.
No.
Not necessarily.
Even-
Because the thing is, if you can have two women, right, that you married to two women at the same time, we can treat them the same, have the same amount of time for them, buy them the same stuff. Yeah.
But it's
I
not
think
about that. But it's not about that.
That's
Again,
the
the argument.
No, what I was saying is just because I've seen all this kind of stuff. I've seen it before. So you can never have the same love for two women at the same time.
So why do you
But
support
it's
polygamy?
not-
Why
it's
polygamy is
not- I
not
wanted
love?
to also
That's
say
why I
that.
said my answer was sarcastic. I'm not going.
I
To
know,
say,
but-
I'm not saying I support polygamy. I
So
said
I'm
it,
gonna say-
but
Right.
I'm saying.
Let me say this: polygamy is not necessarily about love and
Cheating,
romantic
yeah.
and all that stuff. Like, can you give flowers? Can you really give that attention? It's not about that. If when I feel like, from what I know, I'll say this: from what I know, when the cultures were when they had polygamy, it would be because they want to have a lot of children. It's just statistics that there's more women on this planet than men. That's just statistically speaking. So for multiple women to be with one man, it kind of makes sense a little bit. However, it's not about, can you really romance this partner? Can you date them? Can you really go? How you gonna have her on Saturday and her on Sunday? It's not about that. It's about taking care of your children. It's like Will Smith's family, where they're
Oh,
all
yeah.
together.
Yeah.
So even that to me, that's
But-
polygamy because he's not with that lady, but it's a family of more than one woman and one man that are all respectful. He's taking care of all of them. The women are also taking care of everybody. Everybody's working together.
Correct. But on that
No, I don't want it. I don't want it.
I don't
But
want to make
I
it
don't-
seem like it's a
Can't-
good thing
It
because
could
some,
be.
no,
It
very
could be.
often
No, this is
you
what
can
she's
taking
saying.
care of them. You don't have enough time to spend. You don't have time to spend enough quality time with 5, 10, 20 kids. Like you can provide the money,
Right.
the school, and then all that, but the
Yeah,
love, the
yeah,
attachment, the
I understand.
value.
But in Africa,
And
it's not just
one
your immediate
more
family that
thing,
takes care of the kids.
We,
It's the
we
village.
don't have to talk
Can-
about
can
polygamy in
Swazi-
Africa because it happened in
Swazi-
Europe
Yeah, it
and
happens
in everywhere
everywhere.
else. So why is it still acceptable for men to cheat in Africa
that's
and not
so
in
fair.
Europe? Because
So-
we're kind of like,
You're right.
The-
No,
the-
that's
the-
good.
from the
You're right.
cheating
It's not
aspect,
acceptable.
So far, the
They
reasons
do it
they've
anyway.
given
Guys do it anyway
from a male
because they feel like they
perspective.
can.
It is acceptable.
It's not.
from a-
Acceptable.
It
It
is
is
acceptable.
acceptable.
It is
you
acceptable.
can know it.
Literally, when you
put
date a
it
Nigerian, you know that
yeah,
someone's in their
fine.
hand.
No,
Yeah.
it's not acceptable. But guys do
You
it
know they
anyway
come with the
because they
family.
feel like they have the power.
Well, it's
That's
like
why-
No,
Yeah,
because the
it's
women
not
at home are
acceptable,
still
you
saying
know?
it
It's not acceptable.
It is
But if
acceptable.
they're doing
That's
anyway
why-
and it's acceptable,
No,
that
it
makes
is.
it makes it
No,
acceptable.
it is.
This is the thing, that's what I was
Women
trying to
will forgive you and
explain
say, okay,
to
it's
you
fine, you
people
just do this
that
and that.
it
It's
started
not
with
acceptable.
polygamy because it was acceptable then, and
That's-
polygamy has
It was back
ceased
then,
now
not now.
that
That's
people
why
don't
what
accept
you're
that,
saying is
but we still
polygamy
people.
ended in Europe. People is cheating is not acceptable. Why is it acceptable in Africa?
It
It's
is
not
not.
Because
Yes,
more-
it is.
yeah.
Yes,
there's
it
more
is.
other factors that play
Acceptable.
into the.
No,
Correct.
yes,
But
because
listen,
if you
it's not
cheat, listen,
acceptable,
hey,
but
forgive.
I've been told,
Women
listen,
forgive.
no, I was told,
Choosing
I was
something up
told,
again and
They
again.
give
You're
you a pass.
accepting
Yes.
it.
maybe
No,
no,
it's
listen.
that's the right word.
Listen.
Excusable.
no,
for men.
The difference between saying something is acceptable
I
because
see what he's saying.
you
It's
would-
not embrace. It's not
it's
like
not
you say,
embrace.
go
It's
and
not
cheat.
something that we embrace and say, okay, go.
But
cheat.
when it
When it happens, we,
I wanted to say for me it has everything to do with how much you make, money, power.
Yeah.
Like, because I think
Yeah.
money is power.
yes, but
And
that
then-
doesn't
But
that doesn't mean
people
it's
on the street who are
acceptable.
still
Okay.
cheating.
It doesn't mean acceptable.
Whatever word you want to use that works for me, as long as we talk about cheating.
That's
Because
what
I
I'm
feel
saying.
like in
It's not
Europe it
acceptable.
ended because women now works, they're educated. If it doesn't work, I can pack up and leave. Back home, it doesn't. And if you see women that usually put up with those cheating and then being involved in relationships that doesn't even make sense, It's because there is no choice. Where am I going to go?
Yeah, but
Where am I supposed to
that
go?
doesn't
No, yes, it does,
I've met
because
women who are very independent, but yet
You can be independent.
Don't be oblivious, because there are women who are very independent and yet still condone such behavior and stay in toxic relationships.
There are sometimes something is wrong in the process, because maybe we don't define independent as the same. Because people will say, I make a lot of money and I'm independent. Maybe in your mind you feel like marriage, that is, I made it. This is like a different, because I feel like independent in your head.
Some women who are independent.
But what do you call independent?
I'm about
Financial
to define it. Independent. That means the woman can sustain herself in
Mentally
spite of a man.
too.
Not just she can sustain herself. But I've seen a situation where there's a man, he's in a relationship, happens to fall in love with this independent woman. She knows that condoning that cheating is wrong for the
that's
relationship.
what I'm saying. That you might see independent from the outside because she's financially like stable and
Not
all
just
that.
financially.
But inside, emotionally being independent to stand on your own. Say, I'm not putting up with this because I'm worth better. That's still being independent.
That's
though.
not,
in your mind being free to any dependence, being attached to
that's
anything.
emotional
and
health.
feeling like
It's not you can be
when we say
independent and
somebody,
not be
a woman is
emotionally healthy.
But if you're depending on someone and you're not
You're
still
not
not healthy, though.
depending. Listen,
when
you
we
can
say-
fall in love just like you
I want you to say. You tell me. Right.
I think another factor that plays is women are supposed to be perfect in the African community. I feel like if you can never do any wrong, but it's okay for your son to go make a mistake and do this and be like, oh, it's okay, son, don't worry, but your sister is over there cleaning, cooking, doing all these things. They're training you to be that perfect person. So when a man cheats, or if a man cheats and a woman leaves and you say, oh, my man was cheating. Oh, why did you leave your man? That's what you're doing to your husband. You're not taking care of him. So you're ashamed because of what you've done. You can't just, even though you're independent, even though you feel like you can leave and you can be happy, you don't want to leave because the community is going to shame you. So that's another factor that plays in part. So I think that's why cheating is still like embraced or what?
It's not-
Excusable.
That's why I use
It's
the
not
word even.
accepted.
No. Listen, even when you say it's not
It's
accepted
condoned.
because it's not.
condoned.
Not only
It's
because
not because sometimes the men will cheat, nobody doesn't say anything.
Have you
even
ever
something
met
like-
a woman
That's what he
who
meant,
is
it's
strong,
condoned.
who is
No,
But
because
yes,
when
I
I
have
talk to
a
them,
husband.
sometimes mentally I feel like, oh my god, I thought she was a
So
good
when we
woman,
say-
she was strong. When I
no,
talk to them, I was
so
like, wow, I
Ona-
never knew you can think like
When we
that.
say
Feel like,
a woman
what
is
am I gonna do
independent,
next time?
it's
Let
not
me have
just
your money.
financially, right?
But you
We
do
know.
know.
But you know, like,
independent
let me
is
tell
mentally
you
too.
something. Let me
do
tell you
know
Hold
something.
on. One at a time.
Very true.
One at a time.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Society shapes us.
Yes.
Of
There
course.
is this thing that is called nurture versus nature. The environmental, the external factors affect our internal factors.
Of course.
Very
Some
true.
things have been embedded into us since childhood. No matter how grown, liberated, separated individual you become, there's some part of you who feels the shame that comes from the society. As a woman with just one kid, going into another relationship is stress enough. Just imagine yourself having a husband who you have 3 or 4 kids with. By the time you're 30 and you have 3 kids with this man, you're so young, vibrant, you have your money, you can take care of your 3 kids. However, just your kids will not be enough for you, even if you leave. Women put a lot of factors. Women are very rational human beings. And they think about a lot
I'm
of
a
things.
woman too, so
You are a woman. Yeah,
No,
you are a woman, but I will ask you a
That's
question.
that's what I was.
But this is the thing,
Let me get
'cause what
that
I'm
talk,
just-
and then you guys can.
I'm
make sure
explaining
that-
to ask you a question out of it. So, in this situation, consider this dilemma. You're a woman, you're 30, you have 5 kids with a man you met when you were in high school.
Yes.
He loved you, you loved him unconditionally. He was on the football team. So just imagine, the other women that came into his life were not women that he planned to be with.
True.
You're the one he planned to be with, but shit
Yes.
happens.
Yes.
And it keeps happening.
Yes.
And this is men, like she
Very good
explained,
question, yeah.
men are not, they're allowed to make mistakes. He's made several mistakes. You are the point
I've
that,
been forgiving. you,
yes,
Yeah.
you are the point whereby he said, oh, now I can't take it no more. You've been married to him for 12 years. You're 30, 5 kids.
Yes.
You're leaving him and you're taking the 5 kids with you. How do you see yourself starting off? Do you see yourself having another man who has no kid at the age of 32 to be with you? How do you
That's
see
what
that?
I was talking about, being independent, because it's true, you grow up, the society and all that, but there is a part of you that is you, that will be able to stand regardless of what the people think about you. People have done it in the past, it's not easy, but there is you will be like, this is what I want. Before the culture, before my mom, before my dad, before whatever you think it is, like people around me. And then you have to be able to stand for yourself before you start standing for other people or the values you don't believe in. And I feel like that's really, truly being independent. So it's not just about the money.
There's a fine line between an individualist and
No, I was thinking like that even when I was African. I've never known anything.
No, it's still your.
That's what I said. You can be an individual, but in society, just because you are wanting a relationship does not mean you're not independent. Just because you're wanting in a relationship, you could be in by yourself and then you want a relationship. It doesn't mean you're not independent.
No, it's true. But when you are putting up with things because you are scared of the society, you're kind of depending on the views of people, their beliefs, whatever the belief is.
But it doesn't matter because in African culture, the family is everything. So it's not just society. That's what I mean. But no, if you have 5 kids, and I'm talking about from an African.
Sorry. So I can leave my husband and live with my 5 kids. If you want to help, that's fine. If he doesn't, and I don't.
Like for polygamy, it's normal. Like a woman will have like a husband they'll be together, but the husband will have someone else, and the wife will have someone else as well.
Yeah, we don't do that.
So it's like you don't do that either. Like where you guys are together, like so say for instance, Decca and Uke, you guys are in a relationship. And then like Uke is with Joseph, and then Decca is with.
We do that in dating. We don't do that in marriage.
You guys do that at all? Okay.
No, women are not allowed to have more than one husband. They're just allowed to have one husband, and the man is allowed to have several wives. And then Ornella, it's talking about independence.
Yeah, and she was,
her sense of independence.
No, the reason why I want to talk about it because women say.
No, let's say okay. You talk about that, so go ahead. But then we're spreading out from your.
A woman being independent. It's not just financial because we all thinking financially, right?
No, we're not talking about financially though.
No, it's emotionally.
I think it's just
emotionally.
It's easier said than done for a woman to carry those children. And you go out with your children. Oh, where's your husband? Oh, where's your father? And then they go to school. Oh, my father
never has this.
But so are you willing to sacrifice your well-being, your happiness, just to stay because people are going to ask you where's the husband?
I want my children to be happy.
You have valid points, but it's coming from a selfish reason. Because you're right now, I know self-care is very important, but those 5 kids that you're bringing to the world, are you being selfless enough to think about their mental health?
They can have a great their dad, meet up, you can come and take them whenever you want. Doesn't mean I have to be in a relationship just for my kid because kid knows when a relationship is not working, when the dad has been cheating, has been doing whatever he wants. You're not giving example to your daughter. You're not giving
I think what we can do is maybe when the children are old enough to understand that the relationship is toxic, so everybody can sit down and have that conversation. Okay, so
that stay until they're old enough to.
Okay, hey,
so they're young enough.
Because we have to move on. We have to let other people speak. Okay, so that brings up an interesting topic of. When you're in a relationship, right, and your kids are there, is it only on the woman to sacrifice?
Yes.
In Africa, because I think that's where you're speaking from. Is from a period of a hurt place of like I don't like that I'm the only one who has to sacrifice. So that's touching on your emotions. However, in African culture or in our own, because not African culture, there's many cultures in Africa, but
even globally.
But in each of our cultures. Quick answers because I want everybody to be able to speak, right?
Great.
How is the man looked at when something dissent is happening in his home? Because she's saying, I don't understand why I have to deal with it. The man's not doing whatever he wants and I have to deal with it. But we're saying that's the way it is. So I want to know, is that the way it is? That's
the way it is, but that's not how it's supposed to be.
How's it supposed to be?
Because everybody has to take responsibility or the shame or the blame for everything. 50-50. I feel like it's supposed to be 50-50 because when we met and we talked and all that stuff, we slept together and do whatever that we're supposed to do. We did this. Then the baby came out. So I don't feel like the woman has to take the blame and all those stuff.
But that's the way. But
that's where it is, right? That's not how it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Because I feel bad.
You feel bad about it?
I'm a feminist to some extent, but so I understand what women go through when all those stuff come through. All the stuff happens. So I understand what women go through, but at the same time, I'm a guy, so sometimes it's alright, but it's not alright.
Alright, what's the question? So, of what you know in your specific culture, what's the man's role in all of this? Because the women, we're arguing back and forth of how the women should handle it. What's the man's responsibility when you've heard of these stories?
This is how I've seen it, and I'm going to say how I believe my perspective should be. Mm-hmm. How I've seen it, they both have lists. Women and men have a list. Mm-hmm. The men's list is a lot shorter. Have you provided? Have you provided education? Have you? Okay, then you could have possibly done nothing wrong. Yeah. If you have filled this list, anything else you did, even if you were the one that cheated, it doesn't matter because you fulfilled your list. Now have you filled this long list? Now where's your part in it? It's a lot harder on the women. Now as a society, I feel like there shouldn't even be a shame or any type of taboo with there. It could just be a simple reason that they were young and they have grown differently, and you're like, listen, we're not there anymore. Can we healthily walk away and still co-parent and still have our kids? Why must it be no, I'm gonna do it this way because there should be proof of anything. Maybe it's just two people who are no longer good for each other. You've just grown differently. It doesn't mean you're bad people. You've just grown differently. Let's walk away. And I'm able to speak to that because I have been in that situation where you say, okay, we're healthily walking away from this. It doesn't matter what other people say. So it starts within to be able to agree to that. For it to get to the point where, I'm going to wear what people are saying is because there has been that list, there has been that taboo, but it has to come in agreement within the relationship itself.
I agree. I'll say a little bit. I know I see it on both sides. So I've seen it on one side, which is what I feel like the main perspective is of when a woman's, even when she decides, even if she wants to be independent and decides, okay, I'm going to leave, then she's, what's wrong with you? You're leaving your man just because he's cheated? Mm-hmm. That's it? Mm-hmm. He hasn't beat you, he hasn't talked bad to you, he hasn't hurt you, nothing. Mm-hmm. And you're going to leave him because he's cheated? Okay, you're stupid, right? So I've seen that perspective. Mm-hmm. But I've also seen the perspective, my mom told me that when they were newly married, she wanted her friend to be married to my dad as well. She wanted her because her friend wasn't married yet. And she said, it's such a shame for her to be that age. She's not married. She wants children. Can you marry her as well? Can we just be all together? And my dad was like, no. No, that's not how it works. But, so I've also seen that, like, from my mom's perspective, it's not dirty. It's nothing of jealousy. It's about a family. I love her. Why wouldn't I want her in my family? I know that my husband's able to provide for all of us. What's wrong with that, right? So that's a place of respect for everybody involved, which all of it comes down to is respect. So I have different opinions on that.
Basically, the question was, who do we blame? Basically, as to who takes all the, who has to go through the whole. And I have different angles I'll take it from. I'll take it from science, and I'll take it from society, and I'll take it from the individual perspective. And when it comes to the individual perspective and society, women are quick to judge other women. Mm-hmm. Women push other women to do different things. Mm-hmm. And then when you think of society and the saying that goes that behind every successful man, there is a woman. And so behind every son, there is a mother. Mm-hmm. So whatever becomes of a son is the outcome, a reflection of the mother. Mothers are the one who brings up kids. Mm-hmm. What you teach them is what they go on with. Yeah. Then, of course, it comes to science with our genetics. People have potential. Genetics determine your potential. Your environment alters what you become. Yeah. So if there is this one person or this one lovely person in your life just to enforce you and to help you discover your full potential, that is where your genetics comes into full being. A child is born based on the genetics of their parents. So if the dad had the different genetics and the mom has different genetics, if the dad is a cheat, there's a possibility the son will be a cheat. If I'm not done. If the mom
that goes into genetics.
Cheating? Honey, wait, let me be done. There is 23
his-
chromosomes.
this
There
is
is
his
23
perspective.
chromosomes.
But you said
Let me
This is key
explain.
perspective.
It says facts.
You have your turn.
That's
And they are
You
facts.
have your turn.
If you want
Okay.
facts, I'll give you the facts. There are 23 chromosomes in every human being. The
Yes.
23rd determines the sex of the child. The 11th determines the phenotype of a child.
Yes.
So the 11th actually is your personality and the genetics that you inherit from your
But
parents.
cheating is
It's
not
all heredity.
personality
It is.
traits. Like
No,
you're
no,
a
no.
liar, and then you.
So that's why I
okay.
said.
I understand it's your perspective. Don't make it
No,
fact.
right.
No,
It's
because
his
I
perspective
studied
right now.
this
Facts
too.
are changed whatever perspective. Facts are always
You
changed.
look, and I said the external factors affects the internal factors. Your genetics is your potential. The environment alters your potential. But if there's one person in it that actually supports you in a positive way, you have a different outcome. So if the mother who raised the son, right, and there was a study with epigenetics. What epigenetics means is if a child has a genes of cheating, and they did the study of a child who was taking like a baby licking mom, like just like, let me take you for example. You like to hug your child, kiss your child, your son, and yeah, and they took your child to Anela, who is not affectionate. She's totally blank. So her child is also that because she doesn't show that kind of emotions, and they replace those kids. Her kid learn your behaviors. And with that, there is within our genetics, there are 7 genetics in human beings that can be turned off. Those are epigenetics, and that is science. And once
But
that is turned, you
your
can.
genes. I just don't. I don't agree, but it's okay.
Okay, well that's
It's
what
okay,
you think
yeah.
about. But this is the thing. Well, my point of view and my explanation is that whatever becomes of a child is actually a product of the mom.
Yeah.
What you allow the child to get away with, they will grow up to be whatever they want to be. If you teach them, if you're a positive reinforcer, if they do certain things and you tell them this is wrong, every son looks up to their mom. They love their mom so dearly. Have you ever heard a guy who said, "Oh, you cannot do this to my sister," but it's acceptable for them to do it to other people's sisters? Because their parents have taught them that it's okay for a son to do that. However, they know that you can't do that to their sisters.
But you have to understand there are learned behavior and then there are genetics.
Yeah.
Like there are people that always
that's the
happy,
external
smiling,
factors.
and then are getting. There are things you learn because when you're born like a baby, there are things
Mhm.
like you're really affectionate, you're not, but they're not liars and
But
cheaters.
that's my question.
And
That's a difference.
But my
of any
question
Sure.
is
perspective.
Yes,
That's
and-
a lot of people.
right.
But that
have
begs the
different opinions on
question as to your perspective. What
Mhm.
happens to the sons, the motherless sons? If they
Mhm.
have learned that, what happens to them if they've been learned? Because I've seen sons who have been raised by their fathers, and their
Mhm.
fathers are a certain way, and they're like, because of that, I'll never be like that.
Mhm.
Whether it's alcohol, whether
Mhm.
it's cheating, whether they stray so far away from
Mhm.
that.
Correct.
So where does that? How do you justify that as far as behavior?
I just want to add one more thing. So my mom died, my little brother was 2 weeks. So he
Mhm.
actually grew up only with my dad. And we all grew up, he never remarried, never had a girlfriend at home or anything. So, the question. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, with the environment coming into question, this is what the child has observed. This is the child's potential. And the child, when kids are being born, kids, they have this thing with them that draws things like grouping like terms. So you see why a child would like to hang out with boys because they are, that's their interest, and then why an introverted person actually finds an introverted person or finds an extroverted person compatible. Those are certain genetical factors that actually attract certain things to a human being. So let's just say the child have a dad or your. Well, we'll get to you. Once you explain, then we'll get to you.
Because I'm talking.
I know.
Go ahead.
So let's just say we have a child who has a negative parent. However, that's not what they want to be because they've seen better, and genetically they have that factor in them. So therefore, they work towards that. At certain point in time, regardless of whatever genetics you have,
Yeah.
at certain point in time, you also get a choice to decide where you want to be, based on what you've seen and what was normalized to you as a child. So certain things actually, if you pick up from when you're a child. That is my view, that's my perspective, that's my explanation. So,
Okay. That was supposed to be a lot shorter, but you guys are it's okay. Go ahead.
All right, so in Nigeria, it's typical for a man to build a house and his wife makes it a home. So therefore, if there's a problem in the home, it's obviously the woman's fault because the man is the provider and he takes care of it. So you have to fix it all up and embellish it. So therefore, they blame the woman. But in my opinion, I feel like in a relationship, it should be 50-50.
Yeah.
You should be with somebody that you are intellectually matched with for you guys to actually have that communication, for you guys to have that conversation. Hey, look, this is what we're going to do in our relationship. This. So if there's a problem, we can talk about it. So it should never ever, if your, let's say my boyfriend goes somewhere and they're like, man, your girlfriend is this, I feel like he should be able to stand up for me if I'm not there because we have had that conversation and we can communicate and we can intellectually be matched. So I feel like a lot of people are with somebody that they cannot communicate effectively with. And then, so it's okay for them to blame the woman in that circumstance.
What's the question again?
It's who they blame in your country.
And then let's go back to George. I understand what you're saying, but you have to be able to differentiate genetics and then the society and then learned behavior, because those are not the same thing. Like a cheater doesn't make the child like automatically a cheater. So if I'm a cheater, I'm a mom, so my daughter is gonna be a cheater too, and my son's too, and all of them cheaters unless they decide to change. But if it's genetic, how do you change the genetics? You can't really change it. But learned behavior can be changed. So if I learn that, oh, it's okay to cheat, my dad had 5 wives, but I don't want to do it. So I learned it, that's not what I wanted to do, and then that's different. You can't change the genetics. Like if you are sick and in your gene, you have diabetes or whatever, so you can't change that.
there has been a lot of researches. There has been debates around
but
genetics.
You can't say, okay.
And there has been times whereby they had this conversation that kids are genetically bad. Do you agree to kids being born genetically bad?
That's what the question is. That's what it comes down to. I don't think that's something that any of us have the degree or the information to answer. This is an opinion part at this point. Because unless we know all the details we've studied it, that's something that's going to be debated forever. Are we born bad or are we born good? That's that's not something that we have to agree on, nor do we have to even try to agree, because that's fine to have a difference of opinion.
But mine is not coming from an opinion because it comes from my books that I'm studying in psychology.
Right, but you know you know that things can be skewed any way that you want. So if she wanted to pull out some facts too, she could skew them in a way that she sounds correct as well. What is your question?
Answer what's the question now?
Who should be blamed?
I think
who is blamed?
Who is typical like African family where women have to do this and men have to do this. So maybe my perspective is not as African as some of you guys here, but yes, because you be like in an African home, I was like, I grew up in Africa, I moved here 5 years ago, so I think I've seen a little bit of both. But the way I grew up, what people think about me usually is like, I don't care, it's okay to think about whatever you want to think. You are free, that's none of my business. My happiness, my kid happiness, and I know that kids can, it's my responsibility, and I know kids can sense that my mom is not happy. This relationship is not healthy, and sometimes it catch up to the kids. You're like, I've seen this, I've seen abuse, and they try to hear from it when you could have just left and create like a good relationship with the father, but we're not together anymore if there's no love. And like what you said, they are cheating. They when like people agree, I want another wife, I want my best friend to be. I feel like the agreement, because we're honest with each other, even the kids won't be hurt.
Right.
Like they get along, they are best friends. That's my mom, that's my second mom. I think that's
it's
acceptable.
all about respect and what you've talked about.
But cheating is cheating. I'm going behind your back and screwing somebody else. So I feel like those are two different things. And then we kind of, when we're talking, we're putting them together.
Okay, I have another question. A little bit separate. Okay, no, I wanna let that one go. And I wanna ask each of us, what are we looking for in a marriage?
Wow.
Because when we speak from an African perspective, our own personal perspective, but we all are from Africa. When we speak from that perspective, I think a lot of times it is not necessarily just because he loves me. And that's so wonderful. And we're just going to be so happy. I just know that. A lot of times it has other things. No. Because some people do, and I think anyway it's fine. But I want to know personally what we're looking for, because it might be interesting to see what the mix.
Yeah.
What, you can even say this comes from my African side. This comes from me being your like westernized. Tell us what exactly you're looking for and where that comes from.
In answering that, you give your what you're looking for and your reason behind that.
Yeah.
It's not a debatable topic.
No, it's not, because it's what we
have. Time.
Perfect.
Like,
This is
yeah.
it,
So
yeah.
so once you answer that, the next
It's just
person.
for our
so
own
you
use.
just-
Start
yeah.
there.
Okay. At first, when I was younger, I was like, I just want him to love me.
Yeah.
Because for me, love included so many things.
Yeah.
But now I find that I have to be specific.
Yes.
What does love mean to me?
Yes.
Because it will mean like accepting me. But sometimes there are things that would say African values that I'm like, ew, that's not a value, you know?
Yeah.
That's not that, yeah. So I think it's where I'm a man or just like marriage. Because I really need to think about it. Are you talking about just what I'm expecting
Marriage.
men to be or seeing my marriage to be?
What are you? So some people look for romance. Some people look for an agreement. Some people look for someone to just provide for their family. What are you looking for when
I
you get
think
married?
for me, love, that's what I'm looking for.
That's it.
Someone who
Okay.
genuinely, I say genuinely with the heart that really loves me and accept me as who I am. And then if there's things that need to be changed, we'll work on those things. But from an African perspective, sometimes men, no, they don't include, when they say love, I just love you, doesn't mean I can't cheat on you because I can cheat on you, but I still love
African
you.
men are the
It
most
means we're not
romantic.
equal, but I can still love you. I think when you
They love us
genuinely
so
love
much.
someone, you treat
Yeah,
them as you want it to be treated. Like, if it's okay to cheat on me, can I cheat on you too? So can we still be okay when I do that? You know what I mean? Yeah, if I need to clean because I have to take care of you or my husband, yes, I will. Will you clean too because you are my husband? And then, you know, we have to be, everything you ask me to do, we be at least willing to do it. You know what I mean? Even if you want, but knowing that if I'm gonna like die for you, you need to be dying for me too. Like, I really want genuine love. I feel like if people genuinely love you,
So you want to
the-
ride or die?
yeah, if the man is feeling the same for me, then I will ride and die, whatever, regardless what people think, says, but I want
Even
it to
if
be.
it cheats on you,
That's what I'm saying. If I can cheat on you too, then we can send a relationship. That's
Okay,
so
your
if
turn.
you to accept what you do,
Or not.
then maybe you don't love me as much as you
Right,
think
your
you do.
turn. Your turn.
I think it boils down to respect, love and respect. I want you to be able to respect me in the relationship and don't feel like because I'm a woman I'm little, or because I make this I'm little, or anything like that. And I also feel like it comes up to us like being equal and being there for each other. If I have like a weakness, I want you to have your strength to be able to like match my weakness, and we're like still at 100%. If I'm at 50, I need you to be at 50. If I'm at 0, be at 100. Like, I just want it to be like, I don't know, I don't want to say trade and barter, but like I just want us to just be there for each other, like just this puzzle that fits, you know. If I'm a little shaky, pull out another piece and we can like be just that mosaic. That's what I want it to be.
Beautiful. What are you looking for?
In a marriage, I'm a very traditional person, not an African perspective, an American person perspective. I'm the kind of person who don't believe in divorces. I don't want that for myself. So if I'm ready to get married, what I would want in a marriage is friendship. I would want the intellectual capability. I would want independence. And I would want the fact that you will respect me as an individual, and I'll respect you as an individual. My friends that I have currently are my relationships. So the whole time that I keep my friendship is the whole time I try to be a perfect friend for them. So when I move on to be in a relationship or to get married with somebody, I want that friendship, because we talk, we argue, we fight, but then we always have the way of saying I'm
Do you
sorry.
have time for a question?
Yeah.
So when you say you don't believe in divorce, because a lot of people say that, I was like, what do you mean? Because I don't think people get married like, I'm gonna be divorced when it work out.
I know you
But
said people are going to ask
I think
that.
it's
Yeah.
necessary to know that there was options. You know, there was if this doesn't work, I can leave. But you're not making. Okay, I just want to know where you don't believe in it. So even if it doesn't work, Or you can be friends today, you love each other, everything's perfect. In 20 years, you never know it's gonna end up. So you're just gonna stay.
So
So
what do you mean by
marriage to me is very sacred. I don't believe in divorces because I feel like before you get married to somebody, you have to be very cautious and conscious about it and make right decisions. Because once I go into it, I know.
20 years, so we don't really know.
I don't really know. That's why I said my relationships, I practice it with my friends. Do I see the longevity of my friendship? Have I kept my friends that I had from childhood to now? Yes, I have.
You don't
What
live
worked?
with them in the same house though.
Nella, we're giving each individual answer. You're about to be kicked off. You're about to be kicked off. We're not about
But you have to understand that what works
Yeah.
for the goose might not necessarily work for the gander.
Exactly.
I know myself to
Yeah.
whereby when I'm making a decision, I make a decision that I know regardless, or I weigh people's flaws. If you pay attention to me, if I can't stand somebody, I won't give you a chance of the day.
Yeah.
So I have to like somebody to whereby I can ignore their flaws, and I know what I can take and what I cannot take.
But
And
even if
I do
there's
have
a
conversations.
stay because you don't believe
You're really about to
No,
watch
I
it
have
over there.
conversations with my friends, so I know their mindset. Whoever I'm dating, I have to know because initially it's so sad we have short time because I wanted to ask this question: at what time do you get engaged, or at what time do you propose?
Next
Because
time.
that factors to that.
I asked because I was in a 7 relationship, and as we went through it, there was different stages. The person that I knew when we started, and then when you ended, it wasn't the same person. We grew apart. There is chance that you can go apart with your partner and it doesn't work.
But I
So
think
the
he
fact
said he would
that-
have dated that guy for
that's
7 years
that's a
and then
different
been like,
somebody-
oh, you're right.
No,
Bye.
that's
For
not-
somebody who doesn't believe in divorce, what they're saying, even with that time, they won't just look at that as the first option. They will do everything in their power
To fix
to
it.
fix it, to work on everything before they even contemplate the option of divorce.
Okay, it's my
Okay.
turn. No questions either. No questions for me. Okay, it's my turn. I am looking for someone who fits in with my family, and I think that comes from my mom always. Anytime that she doesn't like someone, I know, and I think that she always is looking out for me, and I think that's a very African way.
Yeah.
But my American side of me is looking for a friendship as well. I think that's what I'm looking for. I think that I really want a friendship, but then I need someone to fit in with my family. If they don't fit, it's not happening. It's not happening.
Yeah.
It's very specific.
I know.
It's
For
not
me,
happening.
as you guys were answering, it's a really deep question, and I try to encompass it in 2 words. For me, I'm looking for a match and an addition. So a match, I'm looking for someone who I know what I'm bringing to the table, spiritually, physically, emotionally. So I'm looking at least match that.
Yeah.
Match the values, match something. But on top of that, what are you adding that I don't have? Iron sharpens iron. I don't just want to remain stagnant in my relationship. I don't want to be dragging dead weight and feeling like I'm fixing somebody, or am I always putting me on pause, because I've been there, I've done that. I'm looking for, okay, what do you have that will push me to be better as well? So that's what, because if I'm looking for looks, we can find that at a lot of places. You can find people that match, but what do you have that's just a one-upper that can help me, that can add to my life? So.
Because I have plenty that I'm going to add to your life.
Right. I love me, so love don't pay the bills. I love me just fine, like I can take care of me. So what do you have that's going to add to my life?
So I think we already used that word, like respect. Respect is number 1 thing, because I think that makes a whole lot of difference.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's the number 1 thing. But I'm looking for somebody that's always trying, because I'm always constantly trying to get do something I haven't done before, trying to get to a level. So if I'm making $10 an hour, I'm asking myself, how do I make $10.50 an hour? How do I make $11 an hour? If I get $11 an hour, I'm asking myself, how do I make $12 an hour? So I'm always trying to be better, grow. So if I meet you and you're just comfortable where you are, and oh yeah, I'm okay now, I'm driving this car, I'm okay now. That's a no-no for me. You have to try to be better. Try to go to school, get a degree, do something. Always try to move forward in life, because if you're with somebody that's not trying to move on in life, that drags you backwards too. Because if you are making $30, $35 an hour, and she's making $8 an hour, but you're trying to encourage her, but she's not trying to move forward. Oh yeah, I'm okay. My job is comfortable. My supervisor is okay. Those kind. No, you have to move forward.
today has actually been a very interesting conversation.
Very.
And there's a lot of clarification. I do know most of the questions that are being asked on here are questions that you would love to ask out there too. And we will actually come around, and sometimes when the questions that we can answer, we will try to answer. The ones that we cannot answer, you can try to comment down there with more clarifications. And you can follow individuals also on social media and ask them questions as well if you want to. And we have actually come to the end of today's Afro-Centric series. And like we say, Afro-Centric series brings you nothing but culture, tradition, religion, and festivity. And nothing takes you closer to Africa than its own people. So if you have not yet subscribed to the page,
subscribe,
like, share, comment whatsoever. And guys, we say kisses. Oh my God.